Yeah, Horus Lupercal had to step up and whoop his brother Angron, and it was glorious! One of the best moments in Warhammer ever. Angron, the Red Angel, is not exactly the Primarch that first comes to mind when we think of honor, loyalty, valor, and courage. He's often overlooked and seen as the mindless berserker he eventually becomes. But in the new Horus Heresy novel Dropsite Massacre, we see what really makes Angron tick, and we get to see that the Lord of the Red Sands is possibly the most honorable of all the demigod sons of the Emperor. Despite the butcher's nails and despite the situation Angron finds himself and his legion in, he goes above and beyond to do the right thing, even when he's thrown in with a bunch of cutthroats who are openly doing the wrong thing. Angron's motto for the massacre becomes "wounds to the front," as the treachery and betrayal doesn't set well with him. Angron might smash you to a pulp and plow right through you, but he'll do it to your face, and he makes it quite clear that he is no backstabber. Even though the fury of the World Eater's Primarch is legendary, and we see that on full display on Isstvaan V, just prior to the Dropsite Massacre, he's not exactly cool, calm, and collected. As Fulgrim is delivering a PowerPoint presentation on their battle plan, Angron realizes what it is that he is really about to partake in. And don't get me wrong, he's got no problem with killing other warriors, even his nephews and the other Legiones Astartes. After all, it is the warrior's lot in life that he fall in battle. That's just part of the deal when one takes up arms for a cause. But what Angron has a problem with is betrayal. He doesn't mind fighting the loyalist legions as long as it is a fair fight. Angron seriously believes that the Space Marines of the loyalist legions should not die by treachery and betrayal. That they deserve to die as warriors should, fighting. And he lets his feelings be known, loud and clear. He has nothing against the Space Marines of his brother's legions. Even if he hates his father, he has nothing personal against any of the Astartes. So, let's look at a few moments from the novel and see just what happened and why when Angron defied Horus prior to the Dropsite Massacre, even as the 7 legions approached Isstvaan V. "A circle of sand," says Angron. "Soon this dust will drink blood. Ours, theirs. We will fight and bleed here. Them and us. It will be a slaughter." Karn waits. He feels his jaw work, his teeth part to clack. He controls it. Fatigue is a bruised haze in his head now. "Horus," he begins again. "They deserve to die," says Angron. He's still looking at the fading light and the deepening bowl of shadow in front of him. "All of them. All of those that are coming here. All the blind fools. They have earned their end. But this?" He opens his fist. The wind catches the sand and blurs it into the falling night. The last grains rasp on Angron's armor as he stands and stalks away towards the fortress. Karn feels a twitch in his jaw, then limps after his Primarch. "Vile." Angron's word hangs in the hollow curtained air. The chamber is one of those repurposed from whatever its dead alien architects had intended. It's vaguely conical. There are 11 walls. Each one is a different width. Karn has noticed these facts every time he has had to come here. He can't stop himself noticing. The details have hooked into his awareness and will not shake. He finds the machinery that has been installed, the snaking cables, the static buzz, the flicker of displays of control panels, reassuring. It at least is normal. He works his jaw. His thoughts have been fogging ever since he entered the fortress again. His right side aches. He hasn't been able to focus during the briefing. He hasn't been there. Not until Angron speaks. Vile. Then he is there, right there in the room with Angron raising his head in challenge. The Primarch of the World Eaters has said nothing until this point. Fulgrim has done most of the talking, gesturing hollow images into existence as he layers detail of defenses onto battle plans. Mortarion has spoken briefly, or Karn thinks he has. Horus ceded the floor to the Phoenician after the gathering began, and is not interrupted as Fulgrim has purred and expanded and explained. How long has this been going on? 5 minutes? An hour? More? Karn knows that the Phoenicians' delivery has been perfect. Even through the fog, he knows that he will be able to remember the details purely because of how Fulgrim delivered them. He does not care. He does not want to be here. Not in this room. Not with the fog rolling in his head and the feeling that he must keep checking that his fingers aren't twitching. There are other Astartes standing in the gloom haze behind their Gene Fathers. Karn knows them. Some nodded at him when he entered. Others just stared. He does not care. His right side aches. But now Angron has spoken, and his words spark something. A flash behind the gray fog, burning promethium bright. Karn can feel something buzzing at the base of his skull. It feels like it might hurt. "You have something to add, brother?" says Fulgrim. The 3rd Legion Primarch's expression is serenity sculpted in flesh. "This is vile," repeats Angron. He is next to the holo display. Red splash markers show projected landing sites for an attacking force. Red and bright, stuttering neon. Karn blinks. The red is there inside his eyelids. It is betrayal. "I am sure that those who will come, hoping to take our heads, would agree," says Fulgrim. "But this is what we are here for, Angron. This is what we are doing, or had that fact somehow not made itself obvious to you." Fulgrim glances towards Horus. The warmaster does not answer the glance. He's looking at Angron. Every eye in the room is looking at Angron. "Do you know how to die?" asks Angron, leaning onto the rim of the holotable. Fulgrim bristles, his smile curdling to sneer. Angron does not wait for a reply. "You can feel it coming. You know it is there, just over the horizon as night falls. You sleep and know that those dreams will be your last. When you wake, you know that it will be the last time your eyes open to a new day. You know that the next sleep you have will be in the earth. You know there will be pain and blood, and that another warrior is going to rip your life from you and scream as your blood flows. You know this. And yet you rise. You take up your weapon and turn your face to the sky and roar at your killers to come. That is how a warrior dies." "Brother," begins Fulgrim. "I am not your brother." Angron's roar shakes the air. Karn feels the butcher's nails flare, and his flesh is on fire with pain, and neon fire has replaced the fog in his skull. He's breathing hard, eyes wide and unblinking. We have never shared rope or chain, never bled that the other might live. What we share in our veins is worth nothing. Or had that fact somehow not made itself obvious to you? He points at the red splashes in the hololight. Warriors are coming to face us. They think that they are coming to slaughter us. They have risen and taken up their arms. They are ready to bleed and die and put us in the earth. But you are going to kill them with wounds to the back? So for warrior honor, you would do what? Asks Fulgrim. Have the 5 legions that are on our side declare themselves with us now, before the battle? Yes, says Angron. They raise their banners and blades, we ours, face to face, the doomed and the defiant. And all that we will gain from such folly is greater losses, says Fulgrim. Losses to forces that the warmaster will need, that we will all need to end our father's tyranny of lies. All that we will gain, Angron gives a bitter laugh. We're already dead. All the legions and mortals that follow us are dead. Our skulls wait under our skin. Now, later, it matters nothing. All that matters is how we face death and deliver it, and warriors die with wounds to their front. And your sons that you killed on Isstvaan V, asks Fulgrim, incredulous. You sent them down to the surface along with the rest, unknowing, ignorant of what awaited them? These were given to me by my sons, says Angron, holding his arms wide so that the chains clink and the fresh scars on his skin and armor show clear. He lowers his chin, eyes on Fulgrim. Where are yours? This is not Nuceria, Angron, rasps Mortarion. Not Nuceria. Everywhere's Nuceria. Every patch of sand waiting to be soaked red, every circle of war. I do not know why you stand here, but I know why I do. Fulgrim's mouth twitches into another sneer. Are you saying that because our father did not let you die with your band of slaves that you think we should give away the greatest strategic and tactical advantage we have? He snorts a scrap of laughter. And there I thought we were acting for a goal higher than the right of the foolish to bury themselves in their favorite patch of dirt. Angron moves then. No build-up, no bunching of muscle before the surge. Just there, across the floor, axe loose in hand. Fulgrim grinning at the blow as it comes. Mortarion is between them. The force of Angron's charge could have pitched a tank over. Mortarion takes it, feet planted, unyielding. Fulgrim's smile is the sun, his eyes sapphire stars. His fingertips rest on the pommel of his sword. Please, Fulgrim grins. Please do continue, brother. Angron is still. He does not step back but shakes Mortarion's hand from his chest. Karn's eyes flicker. A blink blur of muscle, weapons rising and the head of an axe striking the Death Lord in the chest. Mouth opening in a roar and saw teeth spinning as sparks fly from armor and the blood of demigods falls to salt the dust. Phoenician, Death Lord, Red Angel, all rising to meet the blades that reach for them, all falling, down onto black sands that will be soaked red. Angron is not moved. He is a tiger's stillness. They should know what they face, he says. They are warriors. They deserve to die with wounds to their front. You are right. Angron looks around at the sound of the voice. Fulgrim too, the sneer on his features settling back into a serene smile. You are right, my brother, says Horus again. His face is grim. He's leaning on the rim of the holotable. The blue light of the projections folds his face in coldness. They deserve better than what will happen to them, than going to war in good faith and dying by treachery. They deserve that not to be their fate. Horus nods and looks down at the features of the Urgal depression sculpted in gossamer light. The chamber aches with listening. But don't we all deserve that? Horus looks up. His gaze goes to Angron first. We have walked into war for an emperor and imperium that cheered us as we died, that threw honors down on us as we waded through horror. His eyes move to Fulgrim and Mortarion, and then out to the other legionaries standing in the shadows. It was a lie! Horus closes his eyes. Even through the static neon itching inside his skull, Karn feels a cold jolt then, a feeling like putting your foot down only to fall into an abyss where you believed there was solid ground. Horus opens his eyes, and his voice is low when he speaks again. Warriors heaped on the dust. Corpses where once there were loyal sons. Dead on the ground they fought for. Not given the chance to fight for their future. Encircled by treachery and lies. Betrayed. Massacred. The words fall, cold and ringing. That is the fate that waited for all of us at our father's hand. For the warriors of every legion. For all our brothers. He reaches a hand into the light of the hollow projection. Folds of land and battlements glide across his fingers as though he is running them through sand. Whoever comes to face us on this ground will die. They will die without a chance of victory. They will die not because of their weakness, but because of the lies that they cannot disbelieve. And we will end them. Not because we relish the task. Not because it is an act of glory. It is not. It is an act of war against the massacre that waited for us all. It's a warrior's mercy. Muscles twitch around Angron's eyes as he gazes at Horus. The warmaster's face is calm. Control radiates from every detail of his posture. Control, power, and strength. Then Angron turns away and stalks to the door. Fulgrim moves to intercept him, hand raised, placating. Angron, begins the Phoenician. Get out of my way, you craven fool. Fulgrim's smile hardens into cold beauty. Then he steps aside. Angron's lip curls and he walks from the chamber. Malagurst watches Angron leave, then looks at Karn. The injured captain glances at his right hand. A tick twitches in his cheek. There are spots of red on the rough cloak Angron's equerry is wearing. There must be blood seeping between the staples closing his wounds. The ram spikes had gone right through him, they say, left for dead for days, another corpse in the pyre sludge of Isstvaan V. Yet here he is, walking, functioning, though not in his armor. But how much more damage could a son of a damaged legion take? Karn is staring at a drop of blood that has run down his hand. It hangs from the tip of the smallest finger. He shivers and raises his head. He looks at Malagurst. Is that pain in his eyes? Then he walks after Angron, his stride hitching, small red drops tapping the floor with each step. We will convene and review again in 6 hours, says Horus into the silence. The bulk of the gathering leave as soon as the words are spoken. First Mortarion and his cadre, then the Emperor's children. Fulgrim pauses beside Horus, leans in, expression earnest. Horus nods, then the brother Primarchs clasp hands briefly. The new ambassador from the Fabricator General glides away, trailing her entourage of ashen-robed adepts. Only the sons of Horus senior cadre remain. They are talking, but their voices are low, as though not wishing to disturb something intangible and volatile. Malagurst catches his warmaster's eye and follows its flicker towards the door that Angron left through. He gives a nod to signal understanding. He has work to do. That is the problem with war, civil or not. It succeeds or fails because of politics. Malagurst turns, searching the shrunken crowd until he finds who he needs. He crosses the floor, staff of office tapping on the stone. Yes, Mal, asks Ezekiel Abaddon without looking around. He is kneeling where Karn stood. As Malagurst watches, the first captain runs a ceramite-wrapped finger across one of the drops of blood the World Eater left on the floor. Karn, says Malagurst. Abaddon looks up, gaze sharp. He understands what Malagurst needs without it needing to be said aloud. So much more than a killer or even a general, thinks Malagurst. He would have made a fine equerry to the Primarch if he had not been so much more useful as the tip of the Legion's spear. You could talk to him yourself, says Abaddon. He does not like me much. No, he does not, Abaddon straightens, the black bulk of his Terminator plate making him a shadow to loom over Malagurst. You think that if Angron is going to break ranks, Karn can restrain him? Sometimes you have to make war with broken weapons. Okay, so then there's another section of the story where Horus is explaining to the legions that there will never be any going back, that they are considered hereticus traitoris, and Angron bursts in all loud and everyone is lauding Horus, shouting, Lupercal, Lupercal, and he's pissed, just totally torqued that his legion's astropaths were taken by Malagurst, which was really done so that he couldn't contact the loyalists. But the Primarch of the 14 is the one who sort of, well, seemingly diffuses it. He says, spoken like a tyrant son of a king. It is Mortarion, air sucking between words, voice a rasp. The Death Lord takes a step from the shadows so that the three Primarchs are a triangle, with Angron at the narrowest point. You are a selfish child, Angron. You do not agree, and so you would break what we make. You would make us all pay the price for your sense of what is right. You would kill us and our warriors, not for their ideals, but yours. Just like our father. And then Karn goes after his Primarch, as Angron tore off all pissed off. Mortarion smugly put him in his place, so how did you think he was going to react? And this is where it comes down to the only real language that Angron truly speaks. Violence. The one way to get through to the Red Angel is to beat his ass into the dirt. It is not hard to follow Angron's path. All he has to do is follow the corpses. He can smell them before he sees them. Offal and gut fluid, then bits of servitors, mechanicum adepts, mortal soldiers scattered and torn, a boot with the foot still in it, a halved skull, a ragged lump of meat embedded with bits of machine. No shots have been fired. The guns he finds are cold. They did not have time to thumb the safeties off. The blood is still warm. He drops over a firing wall into one of the outer trench lines. Body parts and bits of skin hang from the firing step. A severed head and portion of shoulder rotates on a gun strap that is snagged on a trench brace. Still, no gunfire to guide him. Karn is breathing hard, trying to move faster. Where's Angron going? What's he doing? He can't think to get through the central fortress lines and, reach a Vox nexus? Shout a warning to Ferrus's fleet that they have enemies at their backs? There's a Vox nexus right in the central portion of the fortress. There's no way of reaching it from inside without going through the sons of Horus and half the Emperor's children. But there's no way or hope of reaching it from out here either. There are 2 kilometers of trench works and readouts before you hit the walls. He stops. He thinks of all the time that Angron has spent out here, running dust through fingers, gazing at stars and mountains as though dreaming of the past. Except he was not. Infected by rage, bitter, broken by betrayal and loss, he's a Primarch still, a mind and being made for war. He thinks of his Primarch's eyes in the war councils, seemingly distant, seeming not to see. His mind is cracked, but is still a mind that can take in information at a glance. He thinks of what Angron must have been looking at as he gazed at the fortress. He wants to swear, but his jammed jaw won't move. He tries to run, steps hitching, dust blowing past him, while across the fortress the alert sirens have started wailing. He snatches a gaze up and thinks that he sees fresh stars in the firmament. He curses and hurries on. Okay, so the story goes on for a while and focuses on the loyalist Primarchs for a minute before catching back up with Karn. Clouds have swallowed the light of the approaching fleet by the time Karn reaches the buried tunnel mouth. The blast hatch covering it had been torn open. Hidden in the maze of trench works, it was made to be overlooked. It is supposed to be used for troops to emerge in the middle of the enemy once they have advanced this far. The tunnel inside runs down and back under the black sand of the root of the fortress. Its walls are fused rock and sand glass. They glisten in the strobe flash of emergency lights. Blast doors stand open, jammed in the process of closing, corpse hands still unlocking controls. The call for alert sirens fills the air, but they are not for Karn or Angron. They are sounding because out there in the system, there are enemy ships in system. The enemy are here. Angron knew, thinks Karn. He waited. He was ready. Patient. Like a tiger. Karn keeps moving down the tunnel. He's under the walls now, in the fortress. There are dead Emperor's children on the floor, sliced from collar to groin. Blood and other body fluids splash his shins as Karn limps forward. He has his hand on his seax, but what would he do if an attacker came at him now? He couldn't feel his right hand. His jaw is working, clack, clack, clacking on air. Why is he alive? Why is he here? He hears the sound of a chain axe echo down the passage, close, just round the corner. There are thick cables bolted to the walls. Karn can feel static on his skin. This is one of the Vox and comms nexuses. The coordination of the central forces runs through these junctions of cogitators and signal cables. Destroy it, and half the defenses will be blind. But that's not why Angron has come here, or why he has butchered his way through the Emperor's children. He wants to send a message. Karn rounds a corner and sees his Primarch. There are corpses on the ground. They must be Emperor's children. But at this point, that is a guess. Angron is hunched over them, shoulders flexing. The front of his body is dripping red. Karn can see a blast door into the Vox Nexus just beyond the Primarch. It is still closed. Blinking amber light fills the space. Sirens are sounding. His jaw clacks in time with the sound. The Primarch turns towards the blast door. Angron, calls Karn, but the sound is a low gasp. The yellow light blinks. Karn's jaw bites the air. His fingers are numb on the grip of his blade. Angron's eyes are circles of reflected light. He's very still. Karn, he says. You cannot, says Karn. Every word is an act of will. You cannot do this! Angron looks at him. Then Karn is tumbling through the air. He tastes blood. It is his blood. He's floating, the ground skimming past beneath him. He meets a wall. He feels healing bones break again. He's been struck. Angron hit him. A single backhanded blow, a casual lash of force. He hits the ground and the impact brings another gasp of blood from his throat. He's on the ground in the dust. There's blood coming from his mouth. His jaw is working, biting air, and he cannot feel his right hand. A chain blade guns to life. He sees a shadow. A ragged red shadow coming for him, just as the Emperor's children did before they were bloody meat on the tunnel floor. The chain axe strikes his sea axe. Somehow he has drawn the blade and brought it up to block the falling blow of Angron's axe. He feels a bite of rage in the base of his skull and numbness prickling his fingers. Angron is above him. The teeth of the chain axe scream as they spin against the power field of Karn's blade. The Primarch's teeth are bared. "You dare!" he roars, and the chain axe presses closer to Karn's face. The Primarch pulled the blow, Karn realizes. Angron could have slammed the chain axe through Karn's blade, could have hacked down a dozen times in the time it took him to breathe once. He did not. It was both an act of compassion and an insult. "You are a broken shadow who can barely raise a blade, yet you dare try and chain me." "Yet he has raised a blade," comes a voice. It is calm, yet has the force of a storm wind. "And if there is a chain holding you, it is mine." Angron straightens and turns. The blast doors at the end of the passage have opened. Horus Lupercal walks forward. He is armored. A red cloak hangs from his back and a wolf pelt covers his shoulders. World breakers in his hands. He rests the mace's head on the floor as he halts. He looks at Angron, face calm, eyes hard. "This cannot happen, brother," he says. "There can be no warning shouted to Ferrus and his allies. It will not happen." The two Primarchs hold each other's gaze. "This is wrong," growls Angron. His fingers flex on the grips of his chain axes. "I have listened, Angron," says Horus. "I have explained. But words mean nothing in the end. Actions are everything." Karn feels a knot of cold in his gut and thinks he might see a flicker of surprise on Angron's face. "Horus," says Angron. "No more words, brother." Horus lifts Worldbreaker, then strikes its head down on the floor once. The sound is a thunderclap in the strobing dark. Angron draws a breath. Then the world is a blur of movement. Karn has lived his life in war. He has seen every face of it. The bloody, mangled horror of a field of corpses left to dry under an alien sun. The fragile nobility of a soldier running into fire to reach the side of a comrade. He knows that an Astartes legionary at war is beyond most humans' ability to process. You can see it in their eyes. Transhuman dread, some call it. The knowledge that you are in the presence of something that can end you instantly. That you are seeing past the limit of lethality and into the abyss beyond. Karn has seen it. He has read the Remembrancer accounts of it. He has even tried to understand it. He has always failed. But in the instant when Angron and Horus meet, Karn sees and thinks he might now understand. Chain teeth shrieking. Blows shivering sparks from weapons and armor. Fast beyond fast. Fury beyond fury. Horus comes forward, always forwards, striking again and again, and Angron striking back from every angle, axe heads hooking Horus's mace, pulling it down, searching for an opening. It was not a fight, that's too small a word. It was a war. All of the force of armies, all the dead worlds and ended dreams, all there in the ring of weapon on weapon. Horus's mace swings down. Angron brings both his axes up. The spinning chains catch the haft of Worldbreaker. The mica teeth bite the adamantine haft. Horus steps back. Angron is snarling, eyes wide. He lashes a kick out. His foot hits Horus in the chest. The red eye on the warmaster's breastplate shatters. Chunks of red crystal fall. Angron roars and swings. Horus catches the blow with the mace's haft, turns it and rams the head into Angron. Armor cracks. Angron catches his balance, axe is raised. Horus holds still. The warmaster's jaw is set, eyes holes into night. "Why is there never a choice?" roars Angron. We're not given choices, Angron. And now Horus is roaring, anger lighting his eyes. We win them. We make them ours, by blood and blade. So take yours now. And Angron bellows. It is a sound of pain as much as rage. He cuts. Karn feels his Primarch's blows as much as he sees them. He knows them. They're the death blows of the axe fighters on Nuceria, the cuts made by a warrior who will die and take his opponent with him. Right axe from left to right, backhanded into torso, a blow to stagger, to bite. And then the second blow, the left axe backhanded into the head as the opponent's counterblow comes, and 2 warriors fall. Their ropes cut, honor and blood mingling on the sand. The world will be red, and will end now, crimson and bloody. And Karn can feel the numbness of his fingers become white-hot pain, and the shriek of the nails is burning away the gray fog in his skull. Angron's axe blows do not land. Horus has let go of Worldbreaker. The great mace falls. Horus catches the haft of Angron's first axe. Then the claws of his other hand slash down. Karn had not seen the blades unfold. They slice through the chain, binding the axe to Angron's wrist as Horus twists the weapon free from his brother's grip and slices it back at Angron. Its chain blade meets that of the second axe. Mica teeth jam into each other. Chain drives shriek. Worldbreaker hits the floor. A stalemate. But not really. A demonstration that Horus could have ended the fight already. Could have ended it with a death stroke. But instead has chosen to take Angron's own blade. Horus leans in towards Angron, looking through the locked weapon. What is your choice, brother? I will not submit, roars Angron. Do it! Make your cut! End this! No, says Horus and steps back, lowers the chain axe and drops it to the floor. The teeth rattle through a revolution and then are still. The whole passage seems still again. The sound of the warning sirens dims. No, brother, says Horus, and there's pity in the words. No, shouts a voice in Karn's skull. Better slaughter than mercy. Angron still has the other chain axe in his hand. The teeth are still spinning, but the fury in his eyes is hollow. Hollow, gray fog, the emptiness of a broken warrior who was not allowed to die. Your war does not end, brother, says Horus. His voice is low. Angron closes his eyes. Why? He asks. Because of what we were made for. Because of him. Because the only chain you wear is the one he placed on you. And there is only one way to sever it. The teeth of the chain axe spin to stillness. We should have fought this war with honor. We should want to be everything he is not. Horus nods. We never had that choice. He took it from us. Angron closes his eyes again. His shoulders hunch. His head dips. We were made to kill not for ourselves or live for ourselves, but for other, higher ends. That is what we have no choice over, brother. That is the chain that binds us all. You will find no freedom in your own death. But in our Father's, perhaps. Perhaps, says Angron, and it is not the voice of a warlord, but the small voice of pain, of agony and loss stretched past rage into exhaustion. A path of blood from here to there. Horus nods. There's no other way, brother, and there never was. Karn feels something then. Not the fire of rage or surge of pain. Something colder that sits in his guts like ice. Angron takes a step forward and picks up the second chain axe from where it fell. He straightens, begins to wind the severed chain around his wrist. Then let's begin. Just sent a shiver up my spine, and that's the second time I've read that. And I think it's very funny how there's the great game between the Primarchs, but it is often mirrored in this story by the Astartes. And Horus originally wanted Angron to see reason, so Malachurst talks to Abaddon, who has to go talk to Karn. But Karn is a world eater, so Abaddon had to beat his ass in a fight before Karn would even listen to him, but he eventually does. Then that is mirrored when the World Eater's Primarch won't listen to Karn, and has to have his own ass kicked by Horus before he'll listen. It's hilarious how deep he went into this trope. I love it. Karn and Angron are both men of high ideals, morals, and honor. They just aren't our current, contemporary version of ideals, morals, and honor, but they have their own code nonetheless, and it is awesome. But this is all made just so much better near the end of the book, or at least much further into it, when the loyalists make planetfall, and the world eaters are taking the field against them. Angron's battle cry is literally, "Wounds to the front!" It's just absolutely awesome. Defiant to the last. The anarchist in me just really resonates with that. Horus isn't going to control Angron, no matter what. At the end of the day, his own twisted sense of right and wrong is going to guide him, before even a thrashing by the warmaster himself. It was fun to see Horus step up and beat down his rabid brother, even if it was only to make a point. We don't see Horus fight enough in the series that bears his name, so anytime he steps up is awesome. And this book has a lot more Lupercal action than just him trouncing the Red Angel. There are some Horus moments that just really stand out as totally archetypal Warhammer moments. Angron is so much more interesting and deep than people want to give him credit for. But if you're one who judges him, cut the guy some slack. I mean, how well would you function if you were lobotomized and turned into an agony-induced murder machine? Blood for the blood god. Skulls for the skull throne.